Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of Creators Outlet. Our special guest today is Jason Lenox. Welcome to the show, Jason.
Hey, Will, thanks for having me on.
Hey, well, I got to take a look at your books, and I would really love to see them in color sometime, because I know all the books are black and white.
Yeah, to be totally honest, I think that was a budget consideration, and we just kind of stuck with it. I think one day, if we got the money, we would definitely color them and put them out that way. But for now, they're kind of like the old 2000 ADs. They're just in black and white.
Just black and white. Like, you know, I looked and I go, man, this reminds me of like the old Marvel magazines, like the Conan and Punisher and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Where it was like black and white, and they were in magazine format, so they could get away with more stuff.
Yeah,
there was no Comic Code Authority on magazines.
Yeah, no. To be honest, it was just one of those things that it helped us hit our budget. Making the book, so we just kind of stuck with it. And I like black and white, so it's cool. It'd be neat to see them in color, but who knows? Maybe one day.
Yeah, I was thinking, maybe you have a project afterwards that down the road, maybe you put it together like in a trade collection,
and
maybe do some color, and then when things build up, and hopefully some prices will get even a little cheaper going down the way.
Sure.
Let me get rid of that there. So, what got you into comics?
As a kid, I was naturally drawn to comics as a young lad in the 80s. And I dabbled around as a teenager just trying to make little folded together comics. And I kind of dabbled at it that way. And about, I think about 10 years ago, I got the itch to try to make a little bit more professional books. And to this point, I've put out, this is my 11th book, I think it is. I just enjoy making them. I personally like doing it. I've managed to collect a really cool group of collaborators to work with me making the books. And Lords of the Cosmos has been a blast. This is the 4th issue. We're working on 5 and 6 in the background while we're wrapping up the Kickstarter on number 4. And I just like it, man. I don't know. It's just like a fish being in water. I like comic books. I like reading them. I like making them. I just enjoy I like the medium of comics. I like them. Yeah,
I know. I'm a little older than you. Probably a lot older, but
yeah.
I actually found some old indie comics from when guys couldn't afford to go to a printer because it was so expensive. Like back in the early 80s, the prices were like outrageous.
Yeah, well, and here's the thing. I think that the technology has gotten so much better and cheaper when it comes to printing. The physical printed copies of Lords of the Cosmos, to me, look like a professionally printed big publisher book off a shelf. I use Ready Printing in Arizona, and I can't say enough good stuff about the actual work that they do to make the book. I mean, from the crisp cuts to the clean folds to just having the book line up, the quality of the paper, that it just looks and feels like a real comic. But you're right. You're talking about indie books from like the 80s and stuff. It was rough, pulpy paper, black and white. They definitely looked lower tier quality as far as the guts. Now the art may or may not have been good, but you could definitely tell a difference between, a bigger publisher that could afford to use a large offset printing service where they may have had to make 100,000 books in a run, whereas the last run of Lords of the Cosmos for 3, and we got a bunch of 3s and some backups of 1 and 2. I think I got like 310 books, and it ended up being $2 and change per book with freight. I sell them
that's
for
not
5.
bad.
I sell them for 5. Those books were either 40 to 48 pages, including the cover. So the quality has gotten a lot better, so that you don't need to make a tremendous amount of books to get a quality print that someone can hold in their hands and say, this feels professional.
Yeah, I remember guys that would, just wanted to, try to get their name out there and, hope to network with other people, and they would just go to like the local print shop, and they just black and white copy them, fold them, and cut them and staple them together. I actually just found like 3 of those because I just got everything, all my belongings out of storage, so I got all my comics back, all my collectibles back, memorabilia, and stuff from my mother and grandparents that have been in storage. So, and stuff, of course, box upon box upon box of my daughter's stuff, which she told me, don't touch it, just put it in my room. Okay. Teenagers.
Oh my.
Can't live with them. Thanks to DNA evidence, you can't kill them. But so what was the first comic that a particular character or group like just snagged your attention and you couldn't wait for the next issue?
That would be Gru the Wanderer from 1982 when the book was with Epic. And I remember I got Gru issue 2 at the Walden Books at Park City in Lancaster, and I stuck with that book well past its Marvel run and into its Dark Horse run into the 90s, from being a kid to a guy in my 20s until they stopped printing it. The Gru really caught my eye. I thought Sergio Aragonés was gifted. He is gifted. It's a great book, and issue 2 caught my eye, and I remember I went back later and found an issue 1 down at the beach. But I thought Gru was awesome. I don't know, he's never really been that popular, but I thought he was a great book.
He's got a very niche crowd, but it's great stuff. And then you got into Gru around like 50-52, and a certain girl showed up and tagged along with him, and
man, we're talking a little Gru trivia. Yeah, no, you're exactly right. I think she showed up in, I think it was like 50-52, and I think there was an issue where there was a giant spider they had to kill. But yeah, she was kind of like the femme fatale of Gru. Yeah, right on, Will.
See, I know some stuff.
Yeah, no, it's weird. Like, I don't remember the last time anyone even dropped some Gru knowledge on me. That's wild, man. Yeah.
See, I'm full of lots and lots of comic book trivia. So,
well, that is definitely trivia right there. My goodness.
So it's like I love that stuff because like Gru and Cerebus, stuff like that had like a very specific crowd. It went deeper than oh, that looks goofy. I want something cool. Like, I go, well, you can still read something that you think looks goofy and has a great story. It was just one of those things. And I worked at a comic shop. I found my first comic store at the age of 15 while I was bunking school, and got like crazy excited. And then I started working at that comic store, and now I became like really good friends with the guy that the owner hired as a manager, who ended up being the owner of the store. And I still get all my stuff there to this day, like 35 years later. So
Cool.
So I was known to read an issue or two of Cerebus and Gru while I was watching the counter in between customers, because that that was kind of like the perk of being able to work at the comic shop. He was oh, you can flip through and actually, if there's if you finished all your work, you could maybe read an issue towards the end of the day before you locked up.
Now, can we plug that store? What store do you have this lifetime?
That's Wild Time Comics in South Attleboro, Massachusetts.
Okay.
About 40 minutes south of Boston.
Okay.
We can go in there. It's a small shop, but it's packed with tons of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's got 2 back rooms full of storage and probably about close to 100,000 back issues.
Yeah, every great comic store is like a big crazy closet with a million weird things in it that you just love to go through. That's part of the charm. That old kind of mildewy book smell in it. So that's the smell and the flavor and everything else. It's great stuff.
Oh, there's nothing like grabbing like an old bronze issue comic book, open it up, and you can just smell that 70s ink on the pages.
Mm-hmm.
It was just great stuff. So you've been at this a while, and anybody watching, the Kickstarter link is right in the chat, and all of Jason's info is located in the show notes, either up above or down below, depending on whether you're watching us on Facebook or YouTube. And right now we got somebody watching on each. So let me bring the Kickstarter up.
All right, look at that.
And you guys are now funded, but you got 18 days to go, and you get some cool stretch goals going on for everybody as well.
Yeah, so the stretch goals are in the updates. So at $6,000, we're going to get everyone that did a physical backing. We're going to get them a sticker.
Oh, that's me.
Hey, there you go. Right? No, it's like I think 1 or 2 updates down. Yeah, that put you in there. All the backers got that, so they could join us. But so everyone that gets a physical reward, if we get to $6,000, will get a sticker, and then then everyone will also get some laptop, desktop, and cell phone wallpapers.
Oh, cool.
So they're a little digital reward that everyone can get, because some people just get a PDF or a pack of PDFs, and nothing real extravagant, but I wanted to put something nice in there. I think it's in update 5. There's a graphic. There we go. Yeah, stretch goal number 1, right in there. Yeah, there it is. So laptop sticker for the physical rewards, and then phone background and computer wallpaper. So yeah, we have a stretch goal. I've never had one go this fast, so I never really had to put much thought into stretch goals, but we put one together pretty quick to make everyone stretch a little bit. So we're, I don't know, what, $600 and some away from that at this point.
Yeah, it's pretty close right now. Let's see. The High Crossover Part 2.
Yeah, the book's done well. I mean, we've been on the Kick Track top 20 fairly high. I think we were as high as 2 or 3 at one point. There's 3.
Number 3 right there. Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, no, I mean, the backers really showed up. Well, I'll be honest with you. I think Kickstarter upped their game. They really helped by adding a pre-launch link, so you could share a pre-launch link to get people engaged.
Oh yeah, you got to get that. You got to get that pre-launch push. Like, and then it's like, just click on it, and as soon as it goes live, you'll know.
Well, this was the first time I had one doing 11 of these, and I think I had 83 people sign up for that link, and the first 24 hours were crazy. And I think that change helped a lot because you could really really put in some work before the book launched and have that great day one. And I think the book got funded on like day 5, and it takes all the pressure off. You can just have fun with it, you know?
Yeah. Well, once you hit goal, you can just be like, breathe a sigh of relief. It's like,
Yeah. So I'm excited. I think it's great. We can just have fun with it now. I'm just trying to get out and just, do as many podcasts and interviews as I can and just talk about it and just try to find new fans and introduce it to new people. We put a ton of work into this book. It's a solid, awesome read. It's a 40-page book. There's 4 stories in it. It's basically an anthology based on the Lords of the Cosmos universe. And it's fun. It's already starting to do callbacks to earlier issues. It's a hell of a fun book, man. If you like 1980s toys, cartoons, comic books, it is very master of the universe. Flash Gordon, Thundar the Barbarian, kind of like
oh my God. I just saw that Warner Brothers Archives just posted the other day that they've released the entire Thundar series on Blu-ray.
Wow. No, Thundar is awesome, man. It was just a really cool cartoon.
It was like it was somewhere between Conan and Star Wars.
Yeah.
With the D&D flavor. So it was like really cool.
So it's funny. We talked about exactly that when we created Lords of the Cosmos. We said that we felt that genre was called sci-fi barbarians. So we wanted to make Lords of the Cosmos in that genre, just like a Western or science fiction. Mm-hmm. We said it's, He-Man, Thundar, Thundercats. They're all kind of in that science fiction barbarian. So that's what Lords of the Cosmos is. It's talking cats, it's robots, it's cyborgs, it's magic, it's guns, it's swords. It's all just jammed together, and it's a big free for all with as much cool stuff. We had a plant living in a machine body in issue 3 as one of the featured characters. It was like a flower living in like a multi-legged mech suit. This issue has a cyborg that's a human that's merged with an acid tank that has to eat people to live. There's a turtle that's a battleship that's in this issue. So there's just all kinds of just wonky 80s kind of stuff. And it's what we like. So we just try to put it all out there for people that like that stuff. We're making stuff for you. So if these things, like I'll throw one at you, Will. I had a fan say this to me. They said that this book reminded him of the excitement he got when he would get a Sears catalog as a kid and zip to the back to where the action figures were in a toy section for a few pages. And they had the little photographs all laid out nice with the action figures.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. The Mego figures would be there. And then the Kenner, later on when Star Wars hit and Kenner got the license and Mego went out of business, you had like all that stuff there, and there were like multiple companies doing it after Kenner with various licenses and stuff. Oh yeah, Remco did a lot of that stuff too.
So if you scroll down in the Kickstarter, on the back of every issue, we do a toy for the issue. So Mordanix is that character on the cover, but we did a Mordanix toy for the back of the book. So we had a graphic artist, Jared Brown, do him up like he was in a blister pack. And then the inside back cover is like his statistics and layout and all that stuff. But it's a lot of fun, man. We really try to go for that feel, that emotional feel with the 80s toys and everything else. But there you go. There he is.
Right there. And I'm looking at this. I'm like, please tell me they made that this is real and not just a cover.
Well, it's real. That Mordanix sculpt we did for a fan. And, oh, hey, buddy. And it's about 15 inches tall. So, yeah.
That's awesome. It looks like it was, he's attached to the big green ball and he walks around with Tinker toys.
Yeah. Yeah. So, if you bought it as a toy set, you'd be pulling it out and that would be the feel for it. If you scroll up, we made a Saturday morning cartoon advertisement as if the Lords of the Cosmos were on Saturday mornings in the 80s. We made a whole TV lineup. So we just really tried to hit on all those feelings that Lords of the Cosmos, we wanted to make it feel like it was a property that popped right out of like 1983 or 4. And then when you get the book, you can have all those feelings of it's a cartoon, it's a toy, it's a kick-ass story. And just to have that fun with it, man.
And the Jane Baker cover.
Yeah, well, that's an inside back cover on the sketch cover, because on the sketch, like, so on the regular issue, right? The back cover is the toy, and the inside back cover is the back box of the toy, right? For the sketch cover, the printing company puts a big piece of like white art paper around it, so we didn't want to print the toy cover without the toy on the back. So when Jane did that, and hey, Mama Samedi on Twitter, right? When she did that, that's only on the sketch cover for the inside back cover on the Strathmore art paper. So that art is only in the sketch cover version on the inside back cover, which is pretty slick.
That's pretty cool. And the William Smith cover.
Yeah, he's an artist from Russia, and he has a style like Jeff Darrow, and then he drew Mordanix in his style, which is insane. There's an entire crowd of people, and he mech'd him out and put a ridiculous amount of detail in there. You can see the little, I'm pointing the wrong way. You can see my finger. You can see like there's skulls and stuff going through the pipes and everything. He just did a great job. I mean, there's just so much detail, but that's a variant cover. I don't know if anyone grabbed it, but the original art for that's also a reward right now too. If it's still available, it might be gone.
Oh, cool. Now this looks like a 70s cover. Yep.
So Joe Freistuhler is a very good friend of mine. He lives in Ohio, and he is a comic book artist. And then he took two of the characters. He drew so those two characters are Tiedmus and Phoenix. They're like a techno wizard and a talking cat. And their story is in the book. They have a little backup story called Last of My Kind. It's a 6-page story that Joe wrote and drew. And then he did a variant cover with those characters in a very retro Marvel 70s style. And I just think it's lovely.
And it's cool because the cover's distressed. There's spine ticks actually printed on the cover.
Yep.
Even like a crease at like the top corner, and a little bit of marble chipping, but it's all just printed on the cover. That's awesome.
Yeah.
You even get box art.
Yeah. Joe redesigned our Ugly Studios logo that he and I have used for years to put our books under an imprint. So we kind of did that more of the DC style where it's like a circle. He killed it, man. He just really did a bang up job. The little comics code thing, the colors, the colors aren't too bright. They're very, limited printing from the 70s kind of colors. But that was really fun to see him do that. It really, it just shows a love of comic books and really his love for Lords of the Cosmos. He just really did it up great.
Yeah, that's a pretty rad cover, I got to tell you. That's like my second favorite cover that I've seen.
So this next one, Matt Triano is an artist that I met, I think in like 2013 in Reading, Pennsylvania, and I reached out to him and we had a really cool talk about the book and some moments in the book, and he did this cover that is a moment that is touched upon in issue 4, where one of the old great heroes runs into the main villain of the book and has a very negative outcome. But Matt drew kind of the moment before it all goes wrong for him.
Cool. It's a little bloody.
Yeah.
This right here is my favorite cover.
So an artist from England named Alex J does concept art, and I've been a fan of Alex J as long as I've seen their work. And I reached out and said, I really would like you to do some art for the book. So Hunger is a story in the book. It's 13 pages where the heroes have a amphibious assault on the bad guys in the book, the Disciples of Umex, and the good guys have a turtle battleship. They have their main leader is like a Greek god, and they have robots, werewolves. They have there's a guy that's on a floating board, looks kind of like Halo Master Chief a little bit, right? His armored suit. That's a backer character, the fellow that backed Mark Krisher backed issue 3, and he's a skateboarder in real life, and he wanted to have a character that was a skateboarder in the book. So this is the Lords of the Cosmos storming this enemy-held beach, and they're using gigantic cybernetic crocodiles as like troop transports. There's robots, bats, and everything. And to me, that image really sums up Lords of the Cosmos. It's sort of familiar, right? If you've seen something like Saving Private Ryan, but then when you start looking at it closer, it just is like, it's just far out, man. I'm glad you liked it so much, Will, because I love that picture. To me, that really just sums up what this comic's all about. It's just a beautiful piece of concept art. There's so much in it. It tells a story, and it really says, if you look at that and that turns you on, then you would love this book, because that picture is what this book's all about.
Yeah, crocodiles, werewolves, gladiators,
Max,
science fiction guys, spiders. Ooh, I hate spiders.
Right, a lot of stuff, man. The turtle battleship is a big living combat ship.
Yeah, that's just crazy. All the different, all these different things, and man, this cover is totally rad, man.
Thank you. No, and Alex J is a super talent. I remember when we were seeing this thing being made through the process, it felt good, man, because you imagine this stuff, and he took it farther than my imagination. Like, that image was so cool, man. It was sweet.
Yeah, I'm like, if I ever wrote a book, I'd want this dude doing a variant cover for me.
Yeah, Alex J killed it. It was their idea to have the creatures coming out of the crocodiles' mouths and not like riding in like troop transports in the back, which was my original idea. And Alex's idea was better. It just is creepier, cooler. A cyborg crocodile is going to unleash robots and werewolves out of its mouth onto a beach. That's weird shit. Excuse my language, but it's weird, man. So that's one of my covers. I did 2 covers for the book, right? So that is T. Edmist and Phoenix, and then Avitus, the intelligent eagle that wears like a little like headset over its head. It's a giant eagle. And I've started doing like 1 hero and 1 villain cover. So like every issue, I kind of do a more basic, a little less frills cover for each issue. And this was my hero version of the cover with the three of the Lords of the Cosmos heroes. And then if you scroll up, then there's the main cover with Mordantix, the cyborg member of the Disciples of Umex, the bad guys. And Danny Zemba colored that for me. She's a local artist in the State College Bellefonte area where I live. And she made the colors on that thing pop. That thing really looks like glowing,
Yeah, she killed the cup. She killed the colors on that cover.
Yeah. It was
this is the image I saw, and I'm like, this looks so good. I'm like, this is what made me want to see all the books in color.
Fair, man. Fair. I feel it.
And I mean, I still buy black and white comics. And I think certain things, look better in black and white. Like, I like my horror comics in black and white. I just think a lot of the best horror stuff comes across better, just in really good color, really, really good pencils and, tight inks and everything. And it just looks better in black and white. I don't know.
Yeah, I like black and white, but Danny always crushes it with colors, and this one just pops. That thing really looks like it's a big glowing tank of acid just dissolving the people that he's eating.
Yeah, this makes me want to actually create that as a toy.
Yeah. Yeah, and Mordanix isn't really in the first 3 issues very much, but issue 4 really turns the focus on him. He's in the main story that I drew, where it's the present timeline, and he gets into a fight with the main leader Umex and a fallen villain that got injured in the last episode when he was shot by the plant living in a robot body and failed in his mission to kill the flying eagle. And Mordanix basically tells Umex that he wants the unicorn character dead, and Umex has to make a decision on that. And I won't say what happens because I don't want to spoil the book, but Hunger, the beach attack story, shows the origin, because the man who is the cyborg in Mordanix, he is not a machine at the beginning of the story. He looks like a Roman general for the bad guys. And we learn how he ends up being a cyborg strapped to the front of an acid tank with no legs.
Oh, so he was dead center on that cover that I like.
No, that's the main hero that comes for him.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I just saw you said, something along the lines of like a Roman general, and I'm like,
yeah.
Oh, you mean the guy in the middle of the cover? Nope,
Well,
that's
the guy in the middle of the cover is more like a Greek god, right? So
yeah,
he cuts the Roman-looking guy in half. But that's all in the book, right?
You gotta buy it to read it.
Gotta buy it to read it, man, and find out. So that's a page from the short story, The Sword of Ages. So the main hero, the guy running on the beach, that's his sword, right?
Mm-hmm.
And his sword is alive, and his sword has a voice, and the sword has an origin, and the sword is revealed to the reader in the main story. And then there's a full backup story to explain where the sword came from. And this is one of the pages from that short story where we learn where the sword has been and what the sword has done over the years and how it ended up where it was at and where is it today. And a fellow named Zach Bruner did the art for that, and he just did a bang-up job drawing weird, mystical 70s style artwork with over-the-top heroes.
Yeah, it reminds me a little bit of Mike Grell's Warlord run.
Mm-hmm. I could see that. So, yep. So there's a page from Last of My Kind with Tiedmus and Phoenix, and Joe Freistol, the fellow that did the retro cover, did that. And basically, it's called Last of My Kind, and it's about the last of the techno wizards and the last of the intelligent talking cats from the cat kingdom, and they save each other's lives after Umex starts destroying the last techno temple.
Cool. Just to see the big cat like dragging somebody to safety is just
Yeah, it's a righteous little story, and that page is killer. I mean, it's such a good page.
And here's the art from that cover.
Yep, that's Hunger, right? So at the top, that's Mordanix in his human form, and then that's Lady Vi, who's his love interest in the story, and they are the bad guys on the beach, and they are seeing this gigantic task force coming to the shore, and they're worried. That's where that page kind of kicks off. And Sasha Ciardo, who's an artist from Italy, did that, and he did a bang-up job. He did 13 pages for us. He is a legitimate professional illustrator, and he crushed it on every single page. So we just wanted to throw that out there because people really liked that image he drew of the war turtle with the guns and the alligators, and then two of the heroes they're in the front leading the attack. It's great stuff.
All the bats and everything too.
Right.
It's like, it's just crazy, but it like works so well.
I think if you look at why Masters of the Universe worked, at least for me, and I think for a lot of people that were a certain age that read it, it really didn't make any sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
But nothing in that book made any sense. But because nothing made any sense, it all made sense, right? And Lords of the Cosmos tries to capture that flavor where it's like, wait, what you're showing us makes no sense. Nothing makes sense. But it all works because we're not trying to make it realistic. You know, it's just really out there science fiction fantasy. So that's one of the pages I drew. So the storyline with the main story is that the villains are marching across the planet, and there is a capital city of the world called Gemspire that is run by a king and a queen, and they have their little army. And Umex and his army have marched to the gates of Gemspire. They have tanks, they have giant cyborgs, they have their disciples, army of military religious fanatics, and they have come to the end of the road, and they keep wondering, where are those lords of the cosmos at? And you see the king, King Ural, is in front of a camera begging for help. And one of the characters is a technologically proficient dwarf, and he has drones that are flying all around the villains, and he's controlling them with that cyborg organic control center with an antenna. And he is jamming all communications, so no cry for help can go to the Lords of the Cosmos, who have been in hiding for the last 10 years.
Wow. That's some clean line work, too.
Well, I'm very lucky. I have a really talented inker from Spain, Dario Fastmarin, and he makes my clean pencils look even cleaner with some really sharp inks. He's a super talent, and I'm lucky to have him ink my lines. And yeah, so the main story is a lot of setup for a big payoff in issue 5. So it's things keep looking worse and worse for the good people of Planet Aiden. And if you go to the top where we have a pretty sweet 45 or 48-second video if you want to play it. It's pretty sweet. AJ Nutter, who's a friend of mine, put together an amazing, just short form, bam, bam, bam video. But yeah, give it a play. It's great stuff. $46 seconds in and out. We wanted to keep it just a punch in the gut. I'll be honest. I look at a lot of Kickstarters and I look at a lot of videos, and a lot of people tend to put some really boring videos where it's people talking about their projects for 5 or 6 minutes. And I don't want, to me, I want, boom, less than a minute in your face with a lot of really cool images. Get it in, get it out, done.
Yeah, I want an actual trailer, not, start to show a trailer and then it's just somebody talking about the book, and they're going to put the same thing in the description.
Right.
So it's like, it's like doubling up on the same thing, which doesn't really make too much sense. So,
well, I got to be brutally honest about myself. I'm not a pretty enough face that people are going to pay just to look at this mug. I make cool stuff, and I have a really cool creative team. If we're going to pitch a comic book, the last thing they want to see is this. If we want to see comic book stuff, right? And to me, when people do those kinds of videos like you're describing, where it's long and boring, and not that I don't like hearing creators talk. I mean, that's what we're doing right now. But if I'm trying to hype a project, I'm not going to put me talking to you up as a hype video. You want 46 seconds, boom, boom, boom. And if you want to get more into it, I put all my appearances out and people go to them and check them out. But like, this isn't the forward facing image to introduce that project to everyone. You know what I mean? We worked a lot on that video to make it tight. We wanted it about 45 seconds. It's 46, just less than a minute. Boom. You can watch it. You kind of get a flavor, and either you get it or you don't. But I think it's pretty direct and clear.
Yeah. The only thing that I have to say to some people that even make better videos, but then they like putting tech stuff, and then they go on like a million podcasts, and people that are just listening to the podcast, like on download, they're just, they're just hearing like the music, and they don't have any context for what's going on. They know you're watching a trailer, but they can't tell what it is.
Well, they got me there. If they're just listening, all they'll hear is music and a woman laughing at the end. So you got me there.
But that's just something that I kind of like tell everybody. Well, there's a lot of things where people they'll just have like, they'll do like the Star Wars, like, slow scroll, of, a description, and, and then like the big hype words will come up, and then they, they're like, well, I couldn't afford to pay somebody to do the voiceover for it. I'm like, well, next time just call me. I'll just do it. I don't care. I'm not doing anything else. What's it going to take? Like, 20 minutes out of my day to, record the audio for it so you can take that track and just mix it into the video. It doesn't take me any time. Good point. I mean, I was a nightclub DJ for like 35 years, so this is what I did. Played music, made money, and talked to people. But now I do one of those things, and I don't get paid. But if I was at a Comic-Con, this is all I would be doing: hanging out at Artist Alley, talking to all the different creators, finding out, what they get going on, and asking questions, because it's all stuff that interests me, and hopefully interests our listeners too. I guess it does, because I was a little slow with episodes last month, but I had like close to 100 downloads. It's good. And probably averaging out, like, after weeks, a lot of people like watch it on the backside of, the reruns on, either YouTube or Facebook. And, I usually average out like 150 to 300 views, like, for just about every episode. So, so I do my little part, and it just takes a while to grow an audience, but I am about 12 episodes away from hitting 100 episodes. So that's a big milestone. It's it's I think it's easy to do things once or twice. Where it really starts to get complicated is the longevity. Then can you do 200? Do you get to 500, to 1,000? Because there's a lot of reasons to quit. So I think, to keep going shows that you have a dedication and a love for doing your craft. In this case, you're doing broadcasting, you're doing podcasting. It's cool. Well, I think so, but who knows, right? Well, ultimately, it's why I make comics, is because I like them. I'm always touched if other people dig it and they want to support it, but I do it because I really enjoy it. If I get some kind of notoriety or popularity out of it, that's cool. But to me, that's a side effect of doing something you like. It's not the reason you do it. And I think if you do it for the right reasons, because you care about it, I think all the other cool stuff just kind of comes along. And if it doesn't, you know what? If you really like doing it, who cares? You know what I mean? Because the reward is doing the activity, not, well, I'm doing this because I want to be popular. Well, probably not the right reason to be doing it. Yeah, most definitely. So is this arc 6 issues or just the 5? So I think the story arc we're on now is going to conclude in issue 7. 7? Yeah. Issue 4 is going to be the midpoint of the narrative, and then it's all going to go downhill till it all explodes at the very end. And all that being said, I think Lords of the Cosmos can go past issue 7, because
when we started making the books, well, we made them modular, so it didn't have to be me drawing everything, obviously, and it didn't have to be the two original writers and co-owners, Dennis Palmatier or Dennis Palmatier, Dennis Fallon and Jason Palmatier, my partners, and so we're always excited to bring on different creators to do little bits and pieces. So after issue 7, we might have a different person do the main storyline art, and I might just do backup stories and just work on writing. The idea is to make it so it's not dependent on any one person per se to actually do all the work, that we can bring in different people and different contributors and add a little more creative DNA to Lords of the Cosmos. It's a big world to play in. A lot of the people that have worked with us have commented how fun it is to work with us on these books, because they can do little 4- and 5-page shorts and contribute to an issue. So even after issue 7 with my main story arc, there's more stories to be told of different sizes. So we can fit in, we could do a whole issue of 4-pagers. It wouldn't matter. We could make it a relevant issue of that type.
Yeah, you got to go in so the world can keep spinning no matter what.
Exactly. And I've always thought that was cool that we could do that, because I'm a fan of other creatives. So, I mean, one of the real exciting things, even with this book, is a fellow named Liam. He backed the book and we had a little chat. He's a writer, and he said, man, I think this is really cool, man. He's like, is there something I could contribute? And I said, sure. Here's a character that we don't know much about. I don't know, write a 4- or 5-page script. And he sent me the script actually today, and I read it, and I thought, this is awesome. It was so cool. Like, he read the books, he understood what we were talking about, and he wrote a little 5-page script for a character that we haven't done anything with really, except been in the backgrounds. And I read it, and I was like, bingo, this guy gets it. I love this little story. It needs an editor too, but it's great. And it just was so cool that he got fired up to write that and be part of what we're going to do. And I want to put it in a future book, because I think he did a really bang up job.
Well, that's awesome that you're giving different people, all over all around the globe, chances to come in and contribute to this vastly expanding project.
The thing of it is Lords of the Cosmos is as big and as broad as we can make it. And there is room for as many creators that want to come on, and they don't even need to do much. Give me a 3-page short story, and we'll find a spot for it, if it makes sense under the really broad rules we have. That's what makes it fun, that it isn't like I have to do everything and only I can do it. Someone said, I have a really cool idea. I would listen to it, because I have no idea. There's a lot of talented people out there. And if they look at our world we've created and say, you know what, I have an idea, I want to hear it, because maybe they have a really good idea that would make Lords of the Cosmos the best book it can be. And that means listening to a lot of talented people to say, well, what do you think? Because they may have great ideas. And this guy, Liam, he had a great idea. He did a really good job. Like, it was so funny, Will, because it was like getting a present today, where I was like getting a new issue of my comic privately just to me, and I got to read it, and I was just like, wow, like, I just got the best present you could get in the mail as a creator. Someone took your stuff and did a new job. That's great. That was so much fun to read that today.
Well, that's awesome. Makes me want to write a book now. I've never done it, but who knows?
Sure.
One day, maybe.
I would always say, start small. Do a short story. Don't try to kill yourself writing a big novel. Just write like a 10-page story. Write a 5-page story. Say you do.
Yeah, maybe do a horror story and submit it to a couple of people I know. I might have met like 1 or 2 creators over the year.
Sure. Yeah. Write a really bang up short story and see what people think of it. Get a critique. Maybe someone wants to turn it into a comic. Who knows? But yeah, go for it, dude. Make it.
I got nothing but time. Locked in the house and no place to go. So, of course, I might want to play with some toys once in a while. Because you find like older stuff like this.
Oh, no way. Dynamite. I love it.
And it's the deluxe edition, so he can do like all that stuff.
Nice.
I used to buy some cool stuff once in a while. But I've got like all the so many comics can't see him because it's dark in here, but I got about 200 short boxes behind me. So, but so besides your own book, of course, which you would recommend, have you read anything recently on the indie side that you would recommend to somebody else?
So probably my favorite book that I've been reading, it's a friend of mine that he makes his book Lovecraft P.I. And he lives up in the New England area. He might be near you. And he's been doing Lovecraft P.I. now for a better part of 8 years. And he just did a crossover with Mike Shea's book Miskatonic High, which is kind of like a Scooby-Doo Cthulhu mixed mashup kind of deal with teenagers with Cthulhu. And I like Miskatonic High and I like Lovecraft P.I. because they're kind of like fresh, more modern, fun takes on like, you know, old school H.P. Lovecraft Cthulhu stuff. So as far as indie books, that's a recommendation that I have right now. A book that I really think is cool is Isham Kane. He's a guy that's backed my books and he makes his books. He lives in Europe. And he has a book called Wahid. And it's like if Saddam Hussein had a superhero. And it's a really trippy book. It's really violent. And it kind of has like kind of this old world kind of religious style. Not religious art, but like a religious art style to it. And he has a book, his second issue of Wahid is on Kickstarter right now. It's solid, man. I enjoyed the first issue. He shared that book with me like a year ago, and I like that. It's a good book. He's a good friend. He's always supported me, and I support him, and I like his books. And just off the top of my head, those are two that come to mind that they're just solid books. I mean, to be honest, there's so many good independent books out right now.
Oh, yeah.
There's so many, and I think Kickstarter has helped open up that world, and Indiegogo too. To allow people to have voices that maybe just because of technology and finance couldn't in the past. So I know I'm benefiting from that. But yeah, so independent books I would recommend right now. Wahid issue 2 is on Kickstarter. Lovecraft P.I. and Miskatonic High are not on Kickstarter right now. They were earlier. Excuse me, they were earlier this year. But they're Mike Shea and D.W. Kahn are really solid guys too.
Very cool. I always like to ask somebody towards the end of the session, you know, besides your own book, what, you know, throw out a couple, you know, shout outs to like other creators and you know, recommendations for stuff that, you know, you might have read that you liked. And I just think I think it's interesting because then it opens up and it gets, you know, gets more names in my head. And then I'm like, I'm searching Kickstarter for things. And I know there's like, you know, millions of people a day that like search Kickstarter for, you know, comic books and everything else under the sun.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, no, and here's the thing. There's so many cool things floating around out there that you never know if the thing that it would be something you would fall in love with is something obscure that without someone tipping you off that it exists, maybe it just scoots past you and you never know it's there, you know?
Oh, yeah. Plus, HBO Max has that Lovecraft County.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's like if you like Lovecraft County, check out Lovecraft P.I.
Yeah, no, check out Miskatonic High. I mean, they're good books. I mean, those guys put a lot of time and money and effort into both those books. And then earlier this year, they did a crossover where the Lovecraft P.I. character crosses over to the Miskatonic High kids, and they go time traveling to like 1932 Washington, D.C., and they're fighting the Black Good of 1,000 Young, and it's just zany hijinks, man. It's good stuff. But that just wrapped. I think they raised like $20,000 for that book, so they did a great job.
Oh, well, yeah, that's no you know, that's no two-piece at KFC for sure.
No, they're good guys. And Wahid is doing really good too. He's on Kickstarter right now. He's doing really good. And another book, I'll shout out 2 more names. And I shared this on my Kickstarter because I backed it. Is Nine Tales, Tales of the Red Sphinx is a book that a creator out of Sweden created, and forgive me, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he was kind enough to give my backers the download. So if you go to my updates, and you can download it, but it's in there. It's a kind of a it's kind of a superhero vigilante, kind of a cat type person. Really solid art, all European creative team, short stories for this book, Red Sphinx. And then the last book I'll shout out independently is in an Era, which is kind of a really interesting book with kind of like people stuck in an airplane, and it's a thriller. And right now, a fellow named Aaron Roblowski is doing that on Kickstarter, and he sent me the first 2 issues of the book. I backed issue 3 and 4. Yeah, it's cool. So an Era, ENENRA, and then Red Sphinx, Nine Tails. And it's weird when you do a Kickstarter. It's kind of funny because you have kind of a coming out party where you go live, and people are launching at the same time, and then you start to see the people on the circuit, people doing the podcast, they're posting things, and I think there's a lot more community with that. Where I gave Nine Tails a shout in one of my updates, and I gave in an Era shout out, and Wahid's going to get a shout out next week. And I like to promote other creators' books that have Kickstarters when I do, and then they promote my books, because we're trying to allow our backers to see things that we like. And whenever I promote a book, it's usually because I back the book. Well, it's not usually, it's because I do back it, because I don't want to tell you to go check a book out that I'm not supporting and getting the book too. Last book I'll shout out is Frank Forte. Storyboard artist, heavy metal veteran.
Oh, hell yeah. He was on just the other day. I'm good friends with Frank.
Well, Frank and I blabbed for a long time, and Frank and I were chatting about Kickstarters, and we did a book swap, and I'm gonna promote his book the last week he's live, and at some point he's gonna push my book the last week it's live, because I think his book, it's a lot like Cry for Dawn. I like that, and I support Frank, and I'm gonna recommend and back his book to my backers, to tell them to go check out Frank's book. And I guess it's a spoiler. I did ask Frank. I was like, maybe you'll do a cover for Lords of the Cosmos issue 5, and he thought that was a pretty sweet idea. So maybe we'll have a Frank Forte cover for a future Lords of the Cosmos. But the fun thing is, and what I'm getting at is, like, Frank has a Kickstarter right now, and maybe some people would look at that as like competition. To me, I'm excited for Frank and Aaron and the guys from Wahid, Hisham, the guys from Nine Tails. I'm excited for DW. I'm excited for Mike Shea from Miskatonic High, because to me, I want all those people to succeed, because to me, if they're succeeding, I'm succeeding. So I love to recommend their books and projects, because they're the people that are doing stuff around when I am. And then once the Kickstarter backs, then you kind of get out of the Kickstarter circuit, because now you're focusing on rewards. But right now, I'm really excited about Kickstarters in general, man. And I'm excited about all those people I just mentioned. If you're friends with Frank Forte, he's good people, and he's a really cool artist. So maybe he'll be part of Lords of the Cosmos 5. Frank, we hope you're there.
And hey, Trish, prayers for Mike going into surgery tomorrow. Her husband Mike's going into surgery, and she wishes you all the luck in the world. You rock, and they love you.
Well, thank you so much, guys. That's sweet. Thanks.
Love Frank. He's sharing with me new art, and he's working on updating a lot of his stuff.
Well, Frank is one of those guys. He's been around for a long time. He's cool. I like what he makes. I'm in a couple groups that Frank has organized on Facebook, and it makes me laugh because it's all old, weird 70s and 80s shit that I love. He's into heavy metal. He's into some old school hard stuff. So, like, Frank's one of those people, and I've never been lucky enough to meet him in person, but I like people like Frank because he's the kind of person that I would love to hang out with in person, because we like all the same stuff. And I think it's cool. And I love seeing posts on social media where he's putting up like old school heavy metal covers and like old school interiors. And he put a penciled animation cell mock-up from Heavy Metal the movie of one of the leaders that gets his head cut off in the Tarna story. And I was like, that's cool, man. That's cool. You know, like it's like when you mentioned Gru earlier in the show about Chakal being in like issues 50 through 52. I'm like, that's cool, you know. But yeah, no, we'll have to see if we can get Frank on board for heavy metal. My God, Lords of the Cosmos 5, because I think it'd be fun to get him involved, because I think he's the kind of person that we want to have work with us, because he likes the kind of cool stuff that is where the roots of Lords of the Cosmos comes from. So if you know Frank, say, Frank, do the Lords of the Cosmos with Jason. Do it, damn it.
Yeah, I'll hit him up in his DMs. So I hear you doing a cover for Lords of the Cosmos.
So I heard it's this hot independent book that everyone's talking about. There's a talking cat in it.
There's a talking cat in it. All kinds of freaky 70s stuff that you like.
Is there one of them wizards of that talking cat and a girl with a tight shirt and a sword? Get me a copy.
It's got heavy metal shit written all over it.
It's totally got heavy metal shit in it, for real.
Yeah, it was like really cool. Okay, we'll write him tonight.
Everyone's going to start demanding. We demand that you do the cover, because we, like I said, I like having a couple variant covers. We demand. We don't ask. We demand that Frank do a cover for Lords of the Cosmos. It'll be sweet.
Trish will get him to do it, because Trish bought an original Joker piece off of Frank a couple weeks ago. He was on Monday Night Madness with Pops Van Zant. And I ended up, popping in on the show and hanging out with everybody. And Frank has it slipped his mind to mail out Trish's Joker piece, so she can use that as leverage to get him to do a variant cover for issue 5 of Lords of the Cosmos.
I love it. No, he'll do a cool. I mean, I don't know.
Wink, wink, Trish. Wink, wink.
Wink, wink. No, it'll be cool. I know he'll do it, man. He's a kindred soul, and I think it'll be awesome. No, I'll be honest, man. To me, social media is so much fun, because there's so much damn talent on there that sometimes I just see people and I'm like, I want you to do something for me. And I kind of have a wish list of artists for issue 5. And we're going to have some other bang up people do some work for us for issue 5. The story's going to go in a totally different direction in issue 5. And I'm excited. I'm excited for issue 5. I'm excited for issue 6. Hell, I'm excited for Liam's story I got today.
I swear I did just message them.
Yes. Yes. But no, it's just fun, man. And ultimately, if Lords of the Cosmos gives me joy and makes me excited, I hope people get the book in the mail and they get the old issues if they're new to it. I just hope it's just a fun-ass book that you read and you say, holy shit, where's the next one? We like this book. It's just fun, man. It's just fun.
Yeah, well, I joined something online, like on Facebook, comic book related, of course, called the Comic Book Shopping Network.
Mm-hmm.
Jesse James from Jesse James Comics out in Arizona joined forces with Jen King of Space Cadets in Texas, and they created this comic book shopping network.
Mm-hmm.
So there is continuously live shows from various stores selling comics basically all around the clock. And now they've even got an entertainment channel doing stuff like I'm doing now, interviewing creators, just, talking comics in general, shop talk with various comic shops and, all kinds of other stuff. And Jesse runs a program where instead of paying for shipping every time you buy something, you can fill up a short box, and then he'll charge you $15 flat rate shipping to ship you a full short box of comics.
Wow.
So after like a few months, I just filled up an entire short box. And one of the last things I bought was a stack of Warlord, like that high, all for like $1 a piece.
Oh my.
They all had like, a couple of ticks and spine rolls, so they were like, maybe like 7.0s. And I'm like, I don't care. I just want to read them again. I used to have the entire series.
So I want to just say something about that. It's interesting to me. Like I was saying about, I make comics because I like it. I read comics because I like them. And look, I don't want my comics to be torn up, right? But like, I never could quite understand the whole slabbing books things. And I would never begrudge someone for making a buck selling comics. But to me, some of my most favorite comics probably have no value at all. But I really like the books. And the idea of saying, I bought a book and I'm going to slab it and then never look at it, I never quite understood that. And look, I invest, I own stocks, I own cryptocurrency. I'm always trying to make money. But the things that I try to make money off of are never things that I like. You know what I mean? There's financial securities, equities, whatever. And I don't know, I've been good over the year at making money off that, but I never could quite get the feel for saying I'm going to own a book and slab it, because it's like, but you can't read it, So to me, like, I think Warlord's a dope book, man. I like that book. It's a trippy book from the 70s. It's very Lords of the Cosmos-esque, right? And to me, who cares if it's got a nick in the cover? You're buying it to read and enjoy, So I never quite, and that's just me. And like, I'm not saying, well, it's stupid or it's wrong, or if you do, if it's what you want to do it. Just for me personally, I never could wrap my head around it. It just never made sense to me.
I've got 4 slabs. Usually, if I slab something, I'll only slab like keys, not like modern keys, which is why like your CGCs and CBCSs can't get anybody's books out in a reasonable amount of time, is because every week stores are flooded with all these spec books from all the spec sites, and they send in like, each shop will send in like, 10 or 15 of whatever's supposed to be like the hot book with the hot cover artist or whatever, and they're like overwhelmed with a ton of modern books. So I mean, I bought one that it was already slabbed. I bought it at an auction for like $35 because it'll cost you like $40 to get a book slabbed anyhow. I bought an All-Star Squadron #1 because, well, 1, because I liked the book, and 2, because it was signed by Jerry Ordway. It would cost, and I bought it like that because it would cost me more to go into a convention and then, pay Jerry to sign a book. It would cost, he's going to charge at least $25, if not more. And I've noticed artist signatures, creative signatures are going up and up and up. And I'm like, there's got to be a limit to this, because, people are just going to be like, I'm almost at the point where I don't want anything signed anymore. I'd like signed stuff, but I don't like signed stuff enough to give somebody $50 to sign a book. And I know most of that comes back to the fact that a good portion of the people are just having people sign books so they can rent a hotel room and eBay them.
It's weird. In 1997, I was at the Harrisburg International Airport. I was coming back from Las Vegas. I was in Las Vegas for a spring break trip in college. And I was at the Harrisburg International Airport getting my luggage. And I was just waiting with a crowd of people. And there was a Asian looking fellow that was near us. And I kept staring at him because I thought I recognized this man. I kept staring and staring and staring. And I went over and I tapped him on the shoulder. And no one was talking to him. And I said, "Excuse me, sir, I hate to bother you, but are you George Takei from Star Trek?" And he looked at me and he said, yes.
Oh
And I said, wow,
my.
I'm a big fan of Star Trek. I really like Sulu. I'm like, wow, could I get your autograph? He's, what is your name? And I said, Jason. Jason, do you have a piece of paper and a pen? And I did. And I gave him a piece of legal paper and a pen. In this amazingly beautiful handwriting, he wrote me a note that said, Dear Jason, live long and prosper, George Takei. And he just gave it to me and he said, thank you. It's nice to meet you. And we each got our luggage and nobody talked to him. And we went about our way. And the reason I share that story is I would never sell that autograph. I think it's really cool. I have it in a drawer. And to me, it was cool because it was just this innocent, authentic, one-of-a-kind experience. I didn't pay for it. You know, he just was, I didn't bother the man. I mean, I did, I guess I did bother him, but you know, I was like, I just, hey, is that you? You know what I mean? And yes. And, you know, now I think as those experiences have become more monetized, I don't think you could do that anymore. And like, you know, and I don't begrudge people like George Takei, because I'm sure now if you went to see him at a convention, I don't know, what would it cost, like $500 or $600 to have him write you a note? Something of that nature. Me personally, I would never pay for it. Like if you said, well, Jason, you could get a George Takei thing, it's $200 or $300, $400, I would say, no, I don't care. So I'm not into that. I do have some celebrity autographs. I did get to meet John Carpenter. I did some John Carpenter fan art, and I was at a convention at the Wizard World Philadelphia years ago, and a bunch of fans were buying the John Carpenter art and having John Carpenter sign it at the John Carpenter booth. John Carpenter had one of his people come over and said, hey, we'd like to get some of your art. It's really cool. And I said, well, all I want is to meet John and have him autograph some of my art for me. And they said, that sounds cool. Come on over and bring some stuff for Mr. Carpenter. And I got to meet John Carpenter. We got our picture together. I gave him some stuff. I signed it for him. He signed it for me. And we got our picture together looking like two big dorks. And he didn't ask me for money. You know what I mean? I didn't charge him for the prints. And I just thought it was really cool. And like, so to me, I like those cash-free experiences just because to me it's a little more authentic. Mm-hmm. Right? Like he wanted to see something I had. And I'm like, well, that's cool to me, you know? Because I think the world of John Carpenter and his work, you know, he's a superstar, but it was cool that he wanted something that I made, you know? And I treasure that picture and I treasure those autographs because to me that's legit authentic stuff. Whereas, you know, not that paying to see him, but to me that was never authentic. So I don't go that way, you know? And not knocking people that do it, but I don't like paying for autographs. It just rubs me the wrong way.
Yeah, I don't like, you know, I don't like paying for them, but I understand why, you know, comic creators, you know, especially like, you know, named comic creators that are working for like the larger press units.
Sure.
You know, charge because they get bombarded with people that are, you know, wheeling over like a long box of books that they want signed.
Yeah.
And they know that they're doing this and they're going to take like the best ones. If there's anything in there, you know, worth grading, that they're going to grade so they can, you know, make even more money on top of it. And then they're just going to take all these books and sell them.
Yeah. And you're right. I mean, these people realize what's going on and they don't like being taken advantage of. Again, if you go to my two stories, I mean, I treasure those things and I treasure those experiences. And I think if more people were doing what I'm talking about, I think those people would be more free with autographs. But no good deed goes unpunished. There's too many people taking advantage of them. So now they have to be a little bit of a dick to be like, nah, if you're going to take advantage of me, I'm going to take advantage of you know, this activity because you're not treating me right. So I get it. I'm just not into it. So, I mean, to me, the paywalls have kind of made me just be like, eh.
Yeah. You know? And you know, it's like getting ridiculous because the more things go up, the more people think that they're worth even more than that. And they think they're going to get rich off it. And they don't want to say no because, you know, they want to meet the actor that played like their favorite role. And, get their autograph. But I remember like one of the first shows I went to, when I was like, 17 in Boston, and they had a slew of the Star Wars actors. David Prowse was there, Peter Mayhew was there, Jeremy Bullock was there.
Mm-hmm.
Then they had a couple guys that were like, played like various aliens, or like, non-major roles. Like the guy who played Credo was there, and Kenny Baker was there. And I think the most expensive autograph was David Prowse, because he's the big bad, and I think he was getting like $30 for an autograph, and everybody else was charging like 25. Like, I think 25 is a reasonable amount. I don't see the need to pay. Like, I saw there's like an online thing where you can, because there's no big conventions, so I see a lot of these autograph companies that just sent you what Frank is working on right now.
Can we see it?
Who'd you send it to, Trish? Jason or me?
Oh, they sent it to me. I don't know how to share it. Hold on.
Down the bottom, just hit share screen, and it'll come up, and I can click on it and put it up there.
Let me find it. Hold on. Let me download it. Take a pause.
Okay. We'll keep talking about this. I own 4 graded books. I own the All-Star Squadron that I told you about.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big Vampirella fan, and I love Perillo's art on Vampirella, like, so much. And I had the opportunity to get an autograph of the Vampirella versus the Reanimator #1 Virgin variant cover that he did, and sign it. And the man's over in Italy, so there's no way to get it now. So I've got that one. I've got the Detective 880, which is a big key and expensive in its own right. I've got that triple signed, and then I've got an Action Comics 1000, one of the Art Germ variant covers. I've got that.
Okay. Well, I just sent it to you. I don't want to botch everything up on the show. I just sent it to you.
Okay, so you just sent it to me. So let me open up Fake Book again.
Are we allowed to share this? I don't want to cause any problems in the general art world. I think it's okay.
It should be okay.
I do have an art money thing I want to ask you to. We're going to look at Frank's stuff and then feel that we need to up our game. But I do have something that just a money art experience thing.
Okay, so I'll stop sharing that, and then I'll come up here to this, and there you go.
Frank Forte.
Frank Forte. That's really cool. Trish, is that the piece you got done?
Oh, it's cool. Glad he is. We put it up.
Too late.
Whoops. Glad it was okay.
Trish, is that the sketch that you and Jason picked? Because they also backed Frank's Vampire Versus, but they grabbed the tier where they would get everything plus the blank sketch cover with an original sketch from Frank on the cover.
I see. So can I ask you my money question, Mo?
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm gonna shout one of my coworkers out. I call him Money Man. His name's John Mamula, and John is like a money winner. If you listen to this guy, John, you'll make money. He's smart with money. And we were talking about autographs, and I wanted to ask you this because he asked me a while ago. He said, "Are you seeing people in the comic book community paying for digital art, and not like a book PDF, but I'm saying like a one of a kind digital piece of artwork?" And I said, "I've never heard of comic book artists selling this, right? Because from what I've understood, if people are doing their art digitally, they have nothing to sell outside of a book." And then he told me recently he's been dabbling on a website called NBA Hot Shots, where they're putting tokenized unique videos of like NBA stuff, and then you buy it, and you're the only person that has this video of like, you know, a guy from the Celtics or, you know, a guy from the Spurs. And then people are buying and selling these tokenized videos. And I'm like, man, I don't see it, but people are paying thousands of dollars for these videos. Have you heard about this?
I have not, but let me just be the first one to say those people are freaking stupid. I don't care if you don't like me. I'm gonna pretend this is vodka. There we go. I don't give a fuck. So,
and I'll be honest, John's my money man, and I've been I've been asking people about, you know, digital art because I don't.
No, that topic came up in like a comic book chat room I was in one day from an actual artist. Do you prefer to get your original commissions done traditionally or digitally? And I'm like, traditionally. That way I know it's one of a kind.
Yeah, no. So Will, Will, you're with me. You don't get this. You're with me. You're not getting, because I don't get it either.
I can go. You know, anybody can go dark web and download any digital image of anything. I remember about 6 months ago, not long after Donnie Cates got married, he didn't care about anything. And like right after he got married, he cared about every penny he was making. And I guess a couple of like trolls that were probably like, you know, 12, 13 years old were going on the dark web and, you know, to unscrupulous sites that would allow them to, you know, basically steal the medium.
Mm-hmm.
So they could just like, you know, steal the PDF of, you know, like his current books. And he was like arguing with this kid. And I'm like, one, he's not going to win the argument because this kid is like, you know, 12 years old with the mentality of a 5-year-old. And he already knows he's gotten under Donnie's skin. So he's just going to keep doing it. And I got that from the fact that if you have a little brother and he is annoying the holy fuck out of you, you know he's going to keep doing it because mom's going to say, he's little, he doesn't know any better. Don't you touch your brother. And then when your mother turns around, you right in the back of the head. And then you drag him outside, like, go ahead, make fun of me.
Well, John, there you go, dude. I asked another person about digital stuff, and in the comic book circles, no one's feeling it. And the reason I ask is because John is he's a money man, and he seems to think it's going to be a thing. And I'm like, I'm going to ask I'm going to ask people in my community, people like you, And like,
Mhm.
I'm curious. So you'd be like, oh yeah, people. And I'm like, I haven't found anyone in our community that's doing it, which isn't to
Well,
say there isn't, but I have not.
they not for original stuff, but a
Well,
lot of
PDF of the book.
the PDF, the book, and there's so many people that are, they're doing all their art. A lot of people are doing like all their art digitally, or they'll do, they'll do the pencils traditionally, scan it in, and do the inks on, on the
Digital.
iPad and all that other stuff. Here we go. I hate digital. I'd rather hold and see the real thing.
John, you see that? Trish does not go for this digital stuff either. So there's another voice, John, right? Money Man John. People, we're not feeling it yet. Maybe we'll all be wrong, but I'm asking for you, brother.
Like Stan Lee used to say, comics look just fine on a screen, but comics are like boobs. I'd rather hold them in my hand.
Stan knows.
And a lot of artists, if they don't do all their art digitally, they transfer it to digital so they can send the files into printers to make up, all their prints, and prints are like a huge business. I'm not talking about, digital prints. I'm talking about, an original piece of artwork. If it's an original piece of artwork, I want it done traditionally. I want, if I'm going to pay for art, I actually want art. I don't want something that you composed with the help of a computer. I want something that the artist, freehanded, himself. Because I got a slew of prints somewhere around here, and and of course I know they're all run off and cleaned up digitally before they print them out. But I got them signed, so I've got the cover of Iron Man 129, Demon in a Bottle from Bob Layton. I've got that cover print signed by Bob Layton, and that prints right out of Bob Layton's own print collection. I also got the original, the original print of the cover of just the cover art, so the Virgin variant of the new Teen Titans #1, the Baxter edition. And I got that signed by both Wolfman and Perez. And then I've got another one of Thanos and Hulk fighting from Jim Starlin, signed by Jim Starlin. But that's like a different animal, like altogether. No, I don't care about digital stuff. Rather pay more for the book. And we all know I back stuff. Keep your digital and send me the real thing.
Yeah, and see, it's so crazy because I like to listen to new ideas, and I'm telling you, John's my money man. If you ever want to have someone talk about making money, bring him on the show. But he's been telling me about this digital original art, and he asked me, he goes, "Are you seeing this?" And I'm like, "Not one." Like, I think what Trish is saying, like that is, I think people like Trish are typical of art buyers, at least the ones that I see. I think if you offer them a digital original, they laugh at you. But that's just what I see. And look, I love having PDFs because I do have people that say I don't want physical books. And that's cool because I think for them it's more of a space issue. So to me, I have both because people like Trish want physical books. I like physical books, right? But I do know that there are people that specifically say I wouldn't back it unless you had a PDF because I like to buy the books digital. So, to me, I can have both. It isn't like,
but the digital reader market is like tremendously small. The biggest market is trades, graphic, trade paperback graphic novels, and the hardcovers. That's the biggest part because people want to live in a binge world. So people want to sit down and they want to read the entire story. You know, because of what I do, I get lots and lots and lots of PDFs. But I'm doing, you know, scanning through books before I do a show with a creator. So I know what they have, even if I didn't have time to read, 200 pages of your work. Yet I will read it, you know. But I get stuff sent to me from publishers, you know, Image, Valiant. You know, I'm the store in Texas that Jen King owns, Space Cadets. They're actually doing all of Valiant's fulfillment, and I'm on a list because of working for Outright Geekery on top of doing the podcast. That they decided they wanted to comp me the latest version of Bloodshot and Exo Manowar. So they sent me like a couple of advanced copies like 2 weeks ago in the mail, like physical copies. So, you know.
I'll be honest. I'm going to tell a story, and I think you and Trish are going to laugh because Trish is really weighing in the original stuff. So I really like two guys that do writing and editing, Glenn Owen Barris and Brian Sammons. They're two of my favorite modern horror writers / editors, and they write short stories, and they build H.P. Lovecraft themed short story collections. And I found out they made a cyberpunk Cthulhu book with Chaosium in 2013. Really wanted to get it. Looked online. Physical copies are going for hundreds of dollars.
Wow. And
I actually sent them a message because I know them. They're cool dudes. And I was like, yo, do you guys like have one I could buy from you guys? And they're like, why? And I told them. And they were like, what? They're like, this book's this. They're like, go to Chaosium, order it direct. And Chaosium was like, we don't sell to outside the US for this book. It's only in UK. And then I went to Amazon and I could have downloaded it as a Kindle. But here's the thing. I got a whole shelf of Lovecraft Cthulhu books. I'm like Trish. I'm like, I don't want a damn download. I want the book. So I actually tracked a used copy down on eBay for like $58. And I bought it from a used bookstore in Seattle. No, I could have saved $40 and bought the Kindle. But I'm like you guys, I don't want it. I want the physical book on the damn shelf. So I get it. And I love the book. It's a great book. Brian, Glenn, great job. But I paid, a premium to get a used paperback book because I didn't want the Kindle. I don't want it. Right? But I'm sure there's people that would like the Kindle. Just not me.
Did you, after you got it and read it, did you recontact those guys and ask if you could mail them that book and have them write a note inside for you?
Maybe I will now. Hey, Brian, how much will you charge me to sign it? Glenn, how much? Problem is, Glenn lives in the UK. I'd probably pay a ton of money just to ship it there and back to get it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it would take you like a year to get it back and be like $300 to ship it.
Yeah. Their internet instant messages are enough. We're good.
Oh, yeah.
But no, I'm with you guys. Like, I wanted the physical copy. It's a hell of a book. I want their books as on my shelf,
Oh, yeah. So let's see what Trish is saying now. Honestly, it turns her away from Kickstarter when they're like back and you can have all these downloads so you don't care enough to send an actual copy. Sometimes the digital books that you get in some of those bonus packs aren't actually of the creators because there's so many creators that intermingle and cross over and donate a digital issue 1 or issue 2 of one of their series to a different Kickstarter, and it goes in a big bundle for when somebody buys a physical backing. They get all these extra books that they can read in PDF format in hopes that it's going to spark something in somebody that they're actually going to turn around and, you know, look up and cause interest in another, you know, in another creator.
Yeah, no, I think that to me, PDFs are cool if you have physical, because like I said, there are people that want both.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, it's easy enough to have both. I mean, because we
well,
have
to a lot of people nowadays want both because they are so dead set on burying all their books in a plastic coffin.
Mm-hmm. Slab them.
Got to slab everything. I'm like, I see slabbing like major first appearances, like the first appearance of Power Girl, you know, the first appearance of, like, say, Miles Morales, you know, first appearance of Luke Cage, first appearance of John Constantine. I could see wanting to get those slabbed and graded because you don't want anything to happen to them. And at that point, certain books like that become like an investment.
Mm-hmm.
And you've probably already read that book, like, you know, 3 or 4 times. But yeah, the other thing too is a lot of people like the PDFs because if they back the Kickstarter, it takes a while to get the actual physical books to them. And some people, even though they get the PDF like way ahead of time, don't want to read the PDF. They want to wait till they get the physical book in their hands so they can feel the book, smell the book, you know, like Joe Biden smelling stuff, and you know, flip it open, and you know, they just want that thrill of holding a new comic book in their hands that they've been dying to read.
I think part of it is how you grew up. I think my childhood experience, like, I'll give you an example, right? I used to love going to the mall when I was a kid. I loved it. I thought it was totally cool. And like, I have so many positive memories of being at a mall that, like, it's weird because our mall now is like a post-apocalyptic movie.
Mm-hmm.
And like, if you go to it, it's depressing. But when we go there for what few things we still go there for, I still feel excited when I pull into the parking lot because my brain still says, get excited for the mall. Even though there's no evidence, right? It sucks. But I still get excited. Like, what is it? Pavlov's dog. You ring a bell and the dog slobbers. I'm like that. And I think, you know, you and I are of a certain age that when you grew up in those childhood years, you opened a book and the smell, the touch, the paper grain, and your brain associates those smells and touches and textures with feeling good as a kid. And so to say, hey, here's a PDF, your brain isn't wired to get the same enjoyment. Now, if you were a little kid today, maybe reading a PDF would be just fine because that's all you know. But for us, how do you unprogram what you saw when you were 8?
You don't.
I don't think you can. So for people like you, me, you know, Trish, like, we're programmed that that's what makes us feel good. So to say, here's a PDF, that's all you can get. What it's really saying is, I'm not going to give you the pleasure and enjoyment of what makes you feel good, which could be physically holding paper. I'll be honest, man. What makes me feel the best is the old gritty, more pulpy paper with the old 4-color printing. And not that the new coloring isn't dope, but like, to me, that's not the feeling that I remember.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the 4-color printing, the gritty is. So I think there's a lot of what you are used to and how you grew up. And a young, you know, if we had a 15-year-old kid, they may say, what the hell are you guys talking about? Because they don't know that. You know,
unless they were taught that. So let's see.
Sure.
Chris, so didn't know it was called slab for the longest time and Mike and I called it putting them in a coffin. That's what I was calling them at first too. So when we started talking to people, I would say, I don't like Coffin Comics, except Coffin Comics is Brian Polito's Lady Death Company. Did you tell Brian this story? I just want to see if he would laugh. He probably would if he'd been drinking that day. Brian's a good guy. I've met him like 3 or 4 times. So yeah, and Trish also said that she will pay more for original art on a Kickstarter. Good to know. So, do you have original art on this Kickstarter?
I do. I have my penciled pages are available on the Kickstarter, and I believe there's 14 plus the 2 covers that I did. So I have 16 total original pieces in the Kickstarter, and I know some of them have sold. There are still some available. So hey, Trish, if you want to get some original art from me, there's still some in there. Sasha from Italy has his original pages available, and they are amazing. Now, mine are just pencils. My inker digitally inked my pages, but Sasha's are all hand inked. They're very tiny. They're about this big, and they're amazing. Now, the other artists that worked in the book did their stuff all digital, so I don't actually have rewards like what we were talking about. I don't have pages to sell of Joe's and Zach's work for this book. I don't. So.
But I know my favorite cover, minus the cover adornments, just the art from that cover would make a great print. Just saying. I just throw out ideas.
Wait, what's that idea? I missed it. I'm sorry. My brain was short now. Tell me that idea again. Let me get my idea tablet out.
That my favorite cover on this project would make a great print.
Well, I'll tell you what, one of the beautiful parts of Kickstarter is I can add that as a tier. I can add that not right this minute, but I could add that.
Trish said no about the original art. I think it's just that her credit card's crying.
Well, you know what? It'll still be there. I got stacks of original art, so.
Sometime in the future, you can get an original piece from Jason.
There'll be something.
Frame it and hang it on the wall.
No, but Will, actually, I'll tell you, before I got on this podcast with you, a buddy of mine that backs all my books, he sent me a note. He said, hey, I haven't backed the new book yet. I will do that. And I said, Jimmy, well, that's great. Well, thank you. And he said, hey, can we get art from you as like movie poster size? So I sent him a dimension. I said, like this dimension, 24 by 36. And he said, yeah, that's what I want. And I said, well, what art do you want? He goes, I got to look, but can we get any of your art in that poster size from Lords of the Cosmos? And I'm like, yeah, we can make it whatever size you want. And so I put a number out to him, and I said, would this be fair for a big blown up custom poster and a book? And he was like, dude, that's a very fair price. And it's actually, I put it on as a tier just for him. And if other people want to get a big poster of anything, including you, Will, if you would like to get that poster for the book and the big 24 by 36 prints, it would be $110 with shipping as a Kickstarter tier. So that image you could get, we could print it without the logo on it. Or if you just want like a smaller print, we could work it out for you.
Oh no, she was talking about Brian Polito. She hasn't regaled Brian with that story yet.
But yeah, we could make that into a print. That's a good idea. What size? Like 11 by 17? What size do you think?
I don't know. I got prints around here somewhere. Oh, I've got one laying right here.
Hold it up. My guess is that's 11 by 17.
Yeah, I think so, because it's top loader print size.
Mm-hmm. Is that the size you're thinking?
Yeah, because that's the size of like all the other ones I have. Yeah.
Okay, I can do that for you. That's easy. I'll make an 11 by 17 custom print tier. Done. I'll let you know when I do it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, because it's easy enough to do. Now, in the case of Jimmy, he wanted a big poster, but if 11 by 17 floats your boat, that's a hell of a lot cheaper. So,
Yeah, because that's the size of like all the other posters. I got like a few EBAS pieces of his printed art. You know, all the same size. I've got an original Joe Sonat like that too.
11 by 17, 8.5 by 11 are standard loaded paper and printers and color copiers. So those are cheap. When you start to get weird sizes, if you said I wanted a 13 by 21 print, now the price starts to go up tremendously because now they have to use a special printer. And so to get a 24 by 36 poster, it's pretty expensive. 11 by 17, way less. So I'll do that up for you. I'll make it.
It's like, oh, you want us to use the good machine. That will be extra.
Pain in the ass custom machine is what it is. It's just a big roll. But yeah, that's why the bigger stuff costs more.
So I'm going to grab the Kickstarter once again and just run down the tiers. We can take it off full screen. That looks pretty impressive right there, huh?
I had someone say the other day it should be an enamel pin.
It would look good. If it was the 80s, this should be one of those denim back patches. Just saying. Must be the vodka talking. What kind of vodka is that? It's called From the Tap. Let's see. That's the wrong page. Here we go. Shrink that down. 145 backers, 18 days to go. Goal was $4,000, and right now you're at 5,341.
Awesome.
So I have to tell this story because I tell it every time. One of the first people I interviewed just before I started with the webcam nonsense here was Graham Nolan, and I actually got to meet him at a convention the November before the plague. And I got to hang out with him, and it was really cool. And just talking like various comic projects he had going on, what he was planning to do in the future. And it was just before he launched the Chenoo. When he launched the Chenoo, he changed the pledge without a reward $10 tier to buy Graham a beer, $10. And he had about 150 people that thought they were buying Graham a beer. So you have the tip jar where you can toss in $1 or more to support the project. $5 gets you a digital copy. $15 get you a physical copy. Or $15 will get you PDFs of all four. $22 or more will get you two main physical copies, two main covers of the physical copies.
Yep.
$25 or more, one variant cover of your choice. $35 or more, physical copies of issues 1 through 4. $35 or more, physical copy issue 4, and a T-shirt. $50 or more. Sketch cover issue 4 and a digital catalog.
Yep.
So tell us more about that.
The digital catalog is all of my old books that are out of print, and it's just an easy way. I think I have 11 of them that you can get. No, 10. So it's just a big, massive digital bundle of books and a sketch cover. Now, one thing that's changed too with Kickstarter is they now have an add-on system, so you'll be able to add. So if you bought that and said, I want to get 2 more books, you can just tack them on at the end with like a +1.
Oh,
that's
cool.
new.
Yeah, that's a big thing. I think Indiegogo started doing that first, and then Kickstarter started beta testing that.
Yeah,
and I know a bunch of people that did that, and it worked well for me because I've tacked on a couple of things here or there. $52 or more physical copies of 1 through 4 of the T-shirt. $60 or more is a 6 cover pack, 2 standard and 4 variant.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be what, every cover you guys did?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And is this still in play, the early bird special, or is
One
that
of two? Well, you can get an original piece of art in a book for $60. Holy shit! We still got one left. I would have thought that would have been gone.
Trish, what are you waiting for? $60, original art and the book. There's only one available. You can select one of Jason's pencil pages. $72 or more. Sketch cover number 4 and physical copies of 1 through 3. $75 or more. Sketch cover issue 4 and a T-shirt. $75. Lenox original art page in the book. Same price, $75. Sasha original art page in a book.
Crazy. We're giving it away. It's crazy.
I'm like, these prices are insane. Pledge 110 or more. Custom poster and book set, which is what you were talking about earlier.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Pledge $175 or more. Smith original cover art and issue 4. So, where are we? Let's find out which cover art that is. That's yours. That's yours.
Mm-hmm.
That's Alex's. That's Torino.
There it is.
Wow. So he's selling that original piece of art plus an issue 4 for $175.
Yeah, it's bananas.
That's crazy. Original cover art is usually like at least like $250, $300.
I tried to price it to move it, not to get rich.
Oh yeah. Oh, I know. You wanna get it in the fans' hands. There's only one available. This early bird special is all.
Yeah, there's just one. There's only one available. Yeah.
Yep. Those are all gone. All these others are all gone. You missed out on all of these. Well, that's a lot of tiers that are like completely sold out, dude.
Yeah. No, I'll be honest. I've been more focused on promoting the book and not seeing what was sold out. I can't believe that Willem's art isn't sold. That's nuts. I thought that would have just blown out.
Well, it's not sold yet.
Yet.
This is just like, a really cool project. What's Trish saying? looking at Honey with puppy eyes right now. She's trying to make the right face to be able to buy some original art right now.
I'm telling you, that will piece is nuts. That's a nuts piece. If no one takes it, I'm just going to keep it and frame it and put it in my house if no one buys it.
I hear like a lot of creators, they'll show off the, you know, if they've got like original art tiers, we'll show it off, and you know, they'll be like, this is like an amazing price for this work. There's so much work on this page. Like, I can't count how many hours. The art's beautiful. And honestly, I hope it doesn't sell, because I actually want to keep this one for myself.
I get it.
Puppy eyes. So the Kickstarter link is at the very top of the chat. It's also in the show notes up above or down below, depending on where you're watching us. The link for ageofradio.org is also there, where you can find most of my podcasts, actually all of them from, I think, about episode 40 on up. So you can find over 40 podcasts with creators that you can download and just listen to. And you can download them for free. You just look under new shows on ageradio.org and scroll till you see my goofy icon. The one that's the background here with my brains blowing up.
Yeah. I got to tell you, Will, this was kind of a last minute thing. I appreciate you saying, hell yeah, let's do it. Thank you for sharing your space with me. I always feel that it's a gift when anybody allows me to come on their show and takes the time to talk to me. You were totally fun to hang out with tonight, and I kind of wish we were closer so we could have some of that vodka together. But this was really cool, man. This is fun. Yeah, I'm going to make that tier for you, and would you like me to put a book with it, or all the books? What do you want me to do?
I don't know. You should probably just, make it as an add-on, just like the print itself.
Okay, so you're saying that I could make the prints add-ons, and I could make like a print and a book a tier, and then you can add books on at the end too. So I think I'll make a print and a book, and then the print is an add-on. But I'll make that and I'll let you know. But no, this was cool, man. You have a really fun vibe. This was a fun show. It was chill, man. It was good times.
Good. Yeah, I like to make it like more, less questiony and more just, relaxed conversation,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this was fun, man. I appreciate you let me on. And when the book's out and after you have a chance, I'd love to come back and we can talk about the book. You can tell me what you think.
Cool. Yeah, definitely down for that. Everybody check out the Kickstarter. Like I said, it's in the top of the chat for the link, or in the show notes. Go check it out. Back and support this project. If you have never read any of this universe, there's many different ways to catch up digitally and physically in all kinds of different cool tiers here. And you can also get some really dope original art. So go check it out for yourself, and follow Jason. All his social media links are in the show notes as well. And until next time, peace, love, and read some comic books, man.
Thanks a bunch, Will.